From Wall Street to Main Street, this is Lalate.
It's a big evening of evenings Lalate for May 12th, 2022, with incredible great news live on air about your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. In this special live broadcast in primetime, Evenings LA gives you the big news about a fourth stimulus check that has landed in every U.S. state. And we'll go over that fourth stimulus check that members of this channel have gotten. I'll show you the great news and how you get this check across the land tonight in this primetime 1 hour broadcast, stay of the air very end. A fourth stimulus check has landed in every U.S. state, and how do you get it? I'll go over the latest details. As a bear market unfolded and continued to erode today, stocks down dramatically, and the Federal Reserve spoke minutes ago. The PPI released earlier today, CPI released yesterday, and the labor numbers released early this morning. What did we learn? I'll have the latest details in tonight's recording, but the great news is that a fourth stimulus check has landed in every U.S. state. I'll show you how to get that incredible check. You need to bounce, because guess what's happening? The U.S. economy is getting weaker by the minute, and that supply chain disruption, really a big problem. Become a member. Go to the top of the chat and get a membership link. Then link it, sign up, and become a member. Get that incredible newsletter tonight, Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. In this 1 hour broadcast, we'll go over those four stimulus checks that are available in every U.S. state. We'll go over the economic data that came in this week, the CPI yesterday, the PPI this morning, the labor numbers released minutes ago. All good news for Build Back Better Act. That would give you additional checks, and also good news for SS300. But Jay Powell spoke minutes ago. I have the latest details on that front. Meantime, a very popular show on this channel is coming back. Crypto's coming back to this channel, as now crypto is really in a crypto winter. Crashing of stocks, crashing of crypto, crashing the U.S. economy, and you're going to crash this video. Because at the very end, we got a lot more money and a lot more checks. Go to the top of the chat and become a member. Stay with me throughout this entire recording, and I'm going to show you how to get these incredible monies. It's a special live broadcast on air from the shores of Santa Monica, California. Are you ready? I'm ready. It's America's most watched show for prime time for financial news, and it starts right now. Good evening, everybody. Hope you have a beautiful night. It is live on air from the shores of Santa Monica, California, with your Evenings LA broadcast, a 1 hour special recording. Stay to the very end, because we have big checks in this recording, and I'll be interacting with you on this special live edition tonight. Why are we live tonight? Because there is so much breaking news. I can't have you miss any of these details. What's at issue tonight is that we have a lot of economic data that came out in the last 72 hours. CPI yesterday, PPI this morning, labor numbers minutes ago, and yes, Temple of Doom 2022 talking. Your favorite person, Jay Powell, spoke minutes ago. It's not going to be a soft landing, so get your big cushion to sit down. Because over this 1 hour broadcast, Jay Powell says we ain't going to have a soft landing. I have all the latest details, but the great news is that a fourth stimulus check is in every U.S. state. We're going to start with the Build Back Better Act tonight, because we have a lot of good data for it. We have the midterm elections, number one, and we have the bad economic data. Remember, the way that stimulus works, if you've been with this channel since day one, is when the economy is not doing well, more people want to give you stimulus. Well, there's a universal agreement among Republicans and Democrats tonight that this economy is not doing well. And no one could sit back and say, oh, this is just such wonderful news. No, the economy is doing weak. Bad news daily across the board, and that is why Build Back Better Act is getting the push of the Democrats. The president has reportedly teed it up for a vote by Memorial Day weekend, and negotiations are back underway between Kyrsten Sinema and the President of the United States that would provide you additional, you heard me right, additional checks on top of the four stimulus checks that are in every U.S. state. Let me say that again. A four stimulus check is currently in every U.S. state, but Congress, in the Build Back Better Act, proposes to give you additional checks. Additional checks. But in this recording, you're going to see me make it very clear to you, you shouldn't pass up those four stimulus checks in every U.S. state. You should get them right now because the U.S. economy is going down. You want to get those checks. And when Build Back Better Act becomes law, I'm going to show you how to get those checks as well. What is in Build Back Better Act? A lot of checks, $15,000 to $80,000 of checks in that incredible 3 classes of checks and 3 add-ons that we've been featuring on this channel for over a year. Those clusters and those add-ons still are at issue and still proposing to give that big money, $15,000 to $80,000 across those 3 clusters and 3 add-ons. That includes things added on like MSC, $250 billion of free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities, and $25,000 for the purchase of your first home. Clusters like the second one, paid leave like the first one, home repairs and hazard pay, $4,000 of elder care, children's checks as well. But what you need to know is that no time and place to wait for any of these incredible checks to become a law. You need to pounce and get the checks that are law tonight. And those checks that are law, I'm going to show you how to get them. Stay with me. They're coming up later in this recording. A four stimulus check is now landing in every U.S. state, and we're going to go over those, and I'll answer some of your questions in the live chat as well. Get ready with your questions across the board in this primetime special live broadcast. Now, we started by saying the economic data is weak. What about the midterm elections? Democrats understand tonight they have to get this done because they're out. They'll be gone if they don't get Build Back Better Act done. What about the Republicans, though? Do the Republicans have to vote in favor of it? I think they have a difficult tight walk because if they vote against it and it passes, they may not win in the midterm elections, the Republicans. Why? Because Democratic and Republican voters now believe that they need stimulus and they need it fast. And they can't vote for someone who's promising it that has to actually land. So the Republicans are going on a new poll that says the president's disapproval rating is very high. But I don't think they can run that all the way to the midterm elections because polls change. Let's remember that you don't vote in November, you vote 3 months ahead of time. And that is why it makes it all so interesting. What's also interesting is that SS300. SS300 is what Joe Biden promised to swap your COLA for inflation that would lock in a new benchmark every December. But that benchmark would be inflation, not COLA. COLA doesn't work and inflation does work. If there's one thing I can really toot my horn about, and I will, starting right now. Do you hear the horn? I hear the horn. Is that I've been good on projections, good on predictions. And what's good tonight is my predictions about inflation are right on point. I told you last year that inflation is going to come in at 8% in December and stay there prolonged. Not going to be transitory or temporary, as the Federal Reserve had told you. Guess what we learned yesterday? Guess what we learned today? The Consumer Price Index number released yesterday signals that inflation went higher in the month of April. The Producer Price Index number released today reveals that inflation stayed as high in the month of April compared to the month of March. So what does that mean for you? It means that if Joe Biden made that swap from COLA to inflation tonight, you would lock in $200 more per month because inflation is still hot, arguably still at least 8%. Then what about the end of the year? I'm projecting that inflation will come in at about 4% by the end of the year. Jay Powell just spoke minutes ago, and what did he say? Get ready for the sitcom of the night. Sitcom of the night? Yeah, Jay Powell just delivers great comedy in prime time on Ames LA. Because tonight he said, I still believe we're getting inflation down to our 2% price target at the end of the year. Jay, you are not getting inflation down to 2% by the end of the year. That is like Seinfeld saying that there's actually going to be a storyline in tonight's episode. It's not going to happen, Jay. Jay Powell, your Federal Reserve chair, spoke minutes ago, and what did he say? We're still on target to get our 2% inflation by the end of the year. Not going to happen, Jay. So a soft landing is really what's getting back to a 2% inflation by the end of the year while the labor market looks strong, and it's quite challenging to accommodate that right now for a couple of reasons. First reason is it's not going to happen. That was his quote. I'm adding to the quote. The rest of the quote is it's not going to happen because that's one of the reasons. Powell said that comment minutes ago, and of course, he's your Federal Reserve chairman. If it's not 2% and it's 4%, what does that mean? Another $100 for your benefits. SS 300, baby, by the end of the year. Now, Jay Powell said it will be challenging. It won't be easy. No one here thinks it will be easy. Nonetheless, we're still on pathways to get it there. Really? That's not what Wall Street thinks. Wall Street doesn't think Jay Powell has the tools to get it down, at least not now. And guess what happened this week? The tools suggested, the numbers came in, the data suggested Jay Powell's tools do not exist, so don't work. I had told you back in March that Jay Powell, head of the Federal Reserve, does not have the tools to get down inflation. What has happened since then? On Wednesday, the consumer price index number was released. It gauges consumer spending and consumer prices in the month of April. And what did it show? It showed that inflation did not come down. What about the PPI number released earlier today? It showed that inflation was about the same. Those are two benchmarks when determining inflation, and guess what? Our goal, of course, is to get inflation back down to 2% without having the economy go into recession. Or to put it this way, without the labor market remain fairly strong. Isn't that funny how he changes his quote by the second part of the sentence? He says, we're trying to get inflation down by not causing recession or without disrupting the labor market. Why? Because he's going to send you a recession. And he may not disrupt the labor market, but he's going to send you a recession. That's really what we're trying to achieve. And the one thing we cannot do is fail to restore price stability, though. Now, in the economy doesn't work for anybody without price stability. That's not what England says, because England says that it's raising interest rates to battle inflation, and it says that inflation is going to be at 10% later this year. Do you think that England has us so wrong and Jay Powell has us so right? Nope, not happening. The producer budget index numbers, which tracks how much producers get for their products, was released early this morning, and it shows that it was up 11% for the year to date. Whoa. But we're looking at the month-to-month data on the PPI, and it showed that for the month of April, it came in at a 1% increase compared to a month earlier. It came in at 6.9% for this year to date, compared to last month, it was 7.1%. Basically the same number. I don't want you to think it went down a lot. It's basically the same number. Headline PPI actually rose 1.6% month to date from March to April. Inflation is hotter. Joe needs to make that phone call to swap that COLA for inflation. That would lock in $200 more per month right now for your benefits if you're on SSI, SSDI. And then what about the end of the year? Well, Jay Powell's comments that he's going to get inflation down to 2%, not going to happen. And I'm not alone. No one else was really sort of believing it anymore. Jay Powell had his Fed governor come out 2 days ago out of Minneapolis saying he's getting down to 2%. No, not happening. And that talk ain't coming with a walk. Wall Street now understands that Jay Powell does not have the tools to get down inflation. Why? Because inflation is being caused currently by three factors. Coming out of COVID, then Vladimir Putin invading Ukraine, and now third, the lockdown in China. We have new data tonight that the lockdown in China will likely be done, breaking news, by June. Meaning they're going to come off a lockdown. That's interesting because if it comes out of a lockdown by June, China, then the supply chain disruption may be done by about August. That means that, get ready for this one, inflation may no longer be that high on price of goods bought, but your inflation on gasoline will go through the roof. Why? China's been on lockdown, so they're not driving their cars. If they're not driving the cars, there is more supply of gasoline. When they come off a lockdown, then they're driving the cars. Then there's shortage of gasoline. Get ready for gasoline to go its highest levels you've seen of this channel when China comes off of lockdown in June. So that is why that China lockdown ending is actually going to drive up gasoline, even if it drives down prices like imported goods or products into phones. The data across the board is that the economy is stalling up. The gross national product of the U.S. economy continues to erode from a 7.1% projected in April to now potentially 4% right now, and maybe even worse tomorrow. But what about by December? I'm projecting that the GDP, the gross national product of the U.S. economy, will shrink to 0% by the end of the year. 0%? Why? Because we're heading into recession. And in recession, the GDP number is negative. I'm not alone with my analysis. And let's see if I get this one as right as well. What did I project for that inflation? 8%. in December, in January, in February, and higher in March. It was what I project in April. About the same. What was it this week for the CPI and PPI? About the same or a little bit higher. About the same. So I got that right again. What about the unemployment numbers? I had projected the unemployment numbers were going to stay relatively good. Here, we have a shocker. Are you ready for this one? This morning, we started with another economic report, and it's the jobless claims. If you've been with this channel since it started in 2020, you know what Thursday morning is. The number of new unemployment people the week before, people who newly went on unemployment, and then the number of people who are long-term unemployment. What happened? The number of people who went on to unemployment last week soared to 203,000. Folks, if you've been with me from day one, you remember that number. Why do you remember that number? Because every day during the pandemic, I said, before the pandemic, the week before the pandemic started in March 2020, the unemployment claims was 200,000 and soared to 1 million. Well, guess what happened? This number blew out expectations. Wall Street is looking at about 190, came in 200,000. This ain't good. This is the only good number in this economy, and now it's turning bad. Stocks are now in a bar market tonight. And while Wall Street was slightly up throughout much of the day, the 52-week high is now eroded. FANG stocks, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, and Google now tinkering below their 50-week high or around it, meaning that people who bought stocks in the last year are taking a bath. They're down. And what about crypto? Crypto is heading into the toilet. And guess what's coming back to this channel? Yes, crypto's coming back to this channel because I think this is a place in which you need to be attentive to the lows and the potential investment opportunities. Luna, the sister cryptocurrency of controversial stablecoin Terra USA tonight, has collapsed to zero. Another major coin was the concern of what's happened with Luna, which was $85 a coin just earlier this week. You're going to see Bitcoin dropping under 27,000. You're going to see Ethereum dropping and staying under $1,700. And this is where it gets very interesting. Let's go back to the SS300 and the Build Back Better Act. Now, what's important to understand is that there's a lot at issue with SS300, but Joe Biden needs to make that phone call before Jay Powell gets that inflation down. Good news tonight is inflation is not down. What about Build Back Better Act? They got to get it done quickly because they got that midterm elections, and the people do not vote in November. They vote 3 months ahead of time by mail-in ballot. That is why we're going to watch it, but we're not going to watch our mailbox or stand by our mailbox. No, we're not. We're going to pounce because that's who we are. We're Purple Hawks, and we're going to get, or have gotten, our applications in on that fourth stimulus check that is now in every U.S. state. The great news tonight is that Americans are refocused back on stimulus. If you went on social media today or yesterday, there was one sort of website you never heard of. I've never heard of it. It's not a broadcast channel. It's not a print media. But it was trending because it was talking about the four stimulus checks in every U.S. state. Only problem is it had it wrong, saying that the four stimulus checks are less than $600. No, they aren't. The four stimulus checks tonight that are in every U.S. state are huge. And they're the biggest checks we've seen on this channel for many, many years. Thousands of dollars. And the great news, I'm going to show you how to get those four stimulus checks in every U.S. state starting right now. What happened? In doing stimulus, there's ways that stimulus can come to you. From Congress, from the president, or from the state. And why are there four stimulus checks now in every U.S. state? Because the president has done it, and the states have done it. And the mixture of the checks are huge amounts of money. And we started this over a week ago when I told viewers to jump in the live chat, and I'm going to say it right now as well. Jump in the live chat and graduate from Lalate 101 by saying the following words in the live chat. A four stimulus check is in every U.S. state. Yes, every state. When you understand that, and when you're on message and on point, then understanding a four stimulus check is in every state, including yours, then you can take it to the next step, which is LA 202. What are the four stimulus checks that are in every U.S. state? Jump in the live chat if you're in the live chat right now and write the three checks that are live in every U.S. state. And then after the commercial break, we're going to go over those three checks that are in every U.S. state. And I'll see who got it right, and then we'll go over how to get those checks that are in every U.S. state. Next, we're going to turn to that student loan debt forgiveness right now. 7 stimulus. People have been asking me lots of brilliant questions about that student loan debt forgiveness. Halosium. Let's go over the details. Halosium on that 7 stimulus. The president has forgiven lots of student loan debts, but more could be coming. First, the president forgave student loan debts for people who were defrauded by their university. So if you were defrauded by your university and that debt was procured by fraud by the university against you, the president has forgiven your debts 100%. Next, he forgave student loan debts for individuals who became disabled after graduation, went to work in the nonprofit or public sector. Then, debts that are in default have been put in good standing. Debts that were due in May are now rolled over to September. And then the president has teed up the potential to forgive more debts. He said no to $50,000. But what is the magic number? Many insiders believe the magic number is $10,000. And we're likely to see that coming next from the President of the United States. What are we likely to see as well coming next from the Western allies? The next thing we're likely to see from the Western allies is the major deal from 6 stimulus. And that major deal from 6 stimulus is needed because bear markets are not just here, they're internationally. People are losing their shirts and they're invested in coins. They're losing their shirts and invested in stocks. Bonds are surging out of control. 3%, and guess what? If you have a flexible mortgage, you're feeling the heat. 5%, we're not done there yet. The mortgage rates continue to surge as the housing market's starting to collapse. Housing starts down 4 consecutive months, and this is where the unraveling of an economy starts. But the great news is that I'm here. You're here. We're a community. And we learn the importance of grabbing checks when they're available. We don't wait. We get them. That's why you want to get them tonight. Go to the top of the channel and become a member right now if you're not. Then get that newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That is delivered via the YouTube alerts. That explains for you and shows you, wrapped up in a bow and delivered in a box, how to get that 4 stimulus check that is every U.S. state. After the commercial break, we'll go over that incredible check and how you get it. And I'll jump in the live chat and answer some of your questions in this special live edition of Evenings LA. America's most watched show for prime time continues after the commercial break. It's a big night, and we're not done with this week yet. As stocks, bonds, and more erode, what could be next for this economy? Are we done, or is the recession coming sooner than initially thought? Of all those details and more coming up after the commercial break, plus 6 stimulus, which we're going to touch on as well. First, here's a little bit about the member community page. See you back in 60 seconds as a special live edition of Evenings LA continues.
If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LA Daily for the excitement of the new LA live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LA at 9 a.m. Home LA returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LA at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LA Late.
And the incredible news continues right now on Evenings LA. Live, a special live edition from Santa Monica, California tonight for May 12th, 2022. Angel and Tom, during the commercial break, said check A, B, and C are the four stimulus checks now in every U.S. state. They got it right. If you said that as well, congratulations. I am graduating you from LA 202 tonight. Yes, check A, check B, and check C are four stimulus checks now in every U.S. state. And they are huge, and I'm going to show you how to get them after the commercial break. Then we'll be turning also to the details of check D and what you need to know about this economy, as the economy is going to go from bad to worse, and we aren't done there yet. Next up, recession. We'll have the latest details on that front, plus the economic data that came in today, and why is crypto and everything else imploding by the hour. It's a big night, and I'm glad you're here with me, and thank you for joining me on this special live edition of Evenings LA in prime time. Tonight, for May 12, 2022, Wall Street is still feeling the impact of those comments by Jay Powell last week. Jay Powell said he was doing a half basis point, no surprise, for his interest rate spike for the month of May. He gave no guidance for the month of June or thereafter. But based upon the CPI and PPI number released this week, he's likely to do at least 2 more half basis point increases. But we're not going to wait around for any of that. We're going to bounce and get those 4 stimulus checks now in every U.S. state starting right now. So, first step, if you're not a member, go to the top of the chat and become a member. Click that incredible link to join this channel and become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Then get that newsletter Monday through Friday. Also, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell at the front of the channel to set the alerts to all. And with that, let's go get some checks. Check A is the 4 stimulus check that is in every U.S. state, the first of them. And that incredible check A is wonderful. It is huge. Let's look at that first check A starting right now. That 4 stimulus check, check A, is a $6,500 to $12,000 check. It's a 4 stimulus check, and it's in every U.S. state. What is it called? It's called the Homeowners Weatherizing Grant Check. Income qualification, so simple. $75,000 less, single individual, you can get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, you can get it. If you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, you can get it as well. How do you get it? Step 1, subscribe. Step 2, become a member. Step 3, open that membership newsletter. Then go down to the membership newsletter to, of course, check A. Check A is in that membership newsletter written for you so simply. As Carol would say, longtime viewer of this channel, you go down to check A in the membership newsletter. Then at check A, it gives you the details more about check A. It's so simple. Then you click the link right there to online apply. Sends you into the national-wide website, choose your respective state, choose the weatherizing grant, and you apply. You're done. $6,500 to $12,000 coming to direct deposit to your account. Let's go to check B. Huge. Look at that massive amount of money. $15,000 to $80,000, yes, but the average viewer of this channel is getting $66,000 to $80,000. This is a 4 stimulus check. Single individual, $75,000 less, you can get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, you can get it. And if you're on benefits like SSI, SSDI, or veterans, you can get it as well. It's called the Homeowners Grant Check. How do you get it? Repeat the same steps. Step 1, subscribe. Step 2, become a member. Step 3, open the membership newsletter. Delivered Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, via the YouTube alerts, and go down to check B. This is so simple. Just open the newsletter, go down to check B. There's another link to apply, because it's a different application, a different website. It'll send you into the application website, and you apply. It'll look like a map like this. Not my application website, the federal government's. And then you choose your state, like Kentucky or North Carolina or Virginia or Florida, and you apply. Then it'll tell you, thank you, you're approved, and you are done. How simple is this? It's very, very basic. The big success of this channel over the last 60 days has been the membership newsletter. And you, the members, the Purple Hawks, because I've organized it in a way that is so simplistic, you're not going to see it anywhere in a landscape of American culture. You go into that membership newsletter, you go right down to check B, there it is, push, you go see your state, choose your state, type your name in, type your address, type what they want to know, enter, and you're Done. So simple. That is your four symbols check, check A and check B. Now let's go to check C. Check C, you go write down that membership newsletter again, go to check C, and it'll tell you who to call, what to say, and how to say it. You're going to make a lot of phone calls, about 15 of them. You ain't going to make one call because this is 15 possible different checks. Rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and more. How do you do this? Again, you become a member. Subscribe, hit the bell alert to set it to all, and then go down in that newsletter to check. There it is. C. $2,000 over 12 months, averaging currently. Direct deposit, baby. Go in there and pick up the phone and call. Again, it tells you who to call, what to say, and when to say it. So simple. That is check A, check B, and check C. All in that incredible membership newsletter. Now, let's understand where we are tonight for May 12th, 2022. Over 2 weeks ago, not this week, last week, I started LA 101, LA 202, LA 303, and LA 404. The latest status you should be at, if you've been a member of this channel for the last week and a half, is you should have gotten your application in for at least 2 of the checks. A and B, B and A, C and C, or something like that. Why? Because it's cash on the table. You can't wait. The funds are running out. One of the things I cannot predict is how long the funds will be available. It's too hard to predict. What I can tell you is that the funds are there and you go and get them. The urgency is upon us. Why? This economy is getting very bad very quickly. And why I don't want to scare you, I also want to inform you, as I have for several months. We started the year with inflation. I told you that we had that inflation coming last summer. I told you it was going to be 8% by December 2021. But 3 months ago, I told you that Jay Powell is going to get it wrong at Federal Reserve and he's going to send you into recession. Well, tonight, economies, parts of this economy are stalling up. And the situation is going to get worse by the day. Let me tell you the landscape of what's happening tonight. Stock market is in a bear market. Stock market ain't coming back. This ain't a dip that some 21-year-old YouTuber is going to tell you, buy on the dip. No. We're going to have this for 2 years. This is a prolonged bear market. If you bought stocks in the last 6 months, 3 months, I'm sorry, because those stocks are not coming back. They are not coming back anytime soon. And what I mean by soon is not this year. Bear market, if you've never been through it, does not mean it rebounds in a week. Does not mean it rebounds in a month. It's going to be a prolonged negative stock market. What about the bond market? Bonds will continue to go up. What about that impact on you? Your credit card debt will cost more. Your flexible mortgage rate will cost more. Your car payment will cost more. All these things are going to go up. It's going to cost a lot more to do things. And guess what the CPI and PPI number revealed this week? The thing that Bernie talks so much about correctly. Things cost a lot more money, but you ain't making a lot more money. When looking at the CPI number and PPI number this week, it showed that the people's salaries did not go up proportionally to how much the CPI and the PPI inflation went up year to date. Meaning the things you buy cost a lot more money and your salary has not gone up proportionally. That is why it's good news for stimulus. Good news for Build Back Better Act. Good news for SS300. But what you need to know is that these monies are available right now and you got to get them across the board. What about Jay Powell? Jay Powell will continue to talk, and his talk is a little bit at this point just not believable and a little bit laughable. Jay Powell has really become the Temple of Doom 2020 because guess what? Every day it passes and he does what he did the day before, saying I'm going to do something, and people look at it and realize inflation's still here. What are you going to see by a month from now? In my projections, inflation will still be high a month from now. And you'll see more things unraveling. The GDP, the growth of the U.S. economy, is going to go down worse. Labor numbers make it worse across the board. I was certainly surprised by that new unemployment claims surging to 203,000. If you have unemployed people, more of them, you have the people who are employed not getting a lot more salaries. You have the price of goods going up. You have the housing market having a now downward trend line. 4 months of downward housing starts continue to erode. You have stocks imploding. You have bonds imploding. And guess what? You have crypto becoming its lowest levels of the history of this channel. This ain't good. This ain't good. And where do you see anything good in this landscape? You know the answer. You and me. The good in this landscape is you and me. Why? Because I prepare you for this. I prepared you for the recession 3 months ago when I said we're going to recession. I prepared you 3 months ago for getting checks when they're available. And the good news is that a big, massive fourth stimulus check is in every U.S. state tonight, and you can't wait. Imagine the tables in front of you right now, and the table is in your beautiful home on the sands of the beach. But outside that window, you see a storm. The storm is a tsunami. The storm, metaphorically, is the recession of 2023 coming. 2 years. If you never lived through a recession, you don't know what you're installed for. If you never lived through a bear market, you don't know what you're installed for. If you're watching videos or listening or reading commentary on blogs from people who are 21 years old or 18, they never lived through it. They don't know what they're in store for, and they can't advise you for. Recessions are not pretty. And if it's a stagflation, not a recession, that means you have inflation and recession. No one under the age of 50 has endured stagflation in this society in many decades. So they can't even tell you how bad it is. Now, you're in that room and you're looking at the storm out to sea, and you have a wad of cash available on the desk in front of you. What do you do? What do you do? Do you leave it on the desk or do you grab it? Jump in the live chat right now and tell me if there's a wad of cash on that table and there's a storm out to sea, metaphorically a recession. Do you grab the cash or do you leave it on the table? Do you just leave free money available on the table or do you grab it? I'm going to jump in the live chat and read your comments on air. It's like 2 years ago, dancing pair, dancing bear. What do you do? Do you grab the money or do you leave it on the table? You grab it, someone just says. Absolutely. Jeannie says Jay Powell's a bummer. Absolutely. And Jamie Bryan says, I got my check. Thank you, LA. Well, thank you so much. A bear market is grisly, says Bob Bacon. Absolutely. You grab it and go, says Diane Davis. You grab the money and go. And Mudrunner says you grab it and nail it. And Carolyn Campbell says you grab it. Absolutely. You grab the money and you run for it. And you grab it, says two other people whose comments are coming up on screen. There it is. Lorraine Schaus-Sean says grab it, and so does the person right below Lorraine. That is what you have learned from this channel. And Jacqueline Albart says the same thing as well. So says the person behind it. You grab the money. Earlier when this video was airing, there was someone in the live chat, troll, I think his name was Richard, said there's no money available for anyone. That's fine. If Richard doesn't want to grab the money on the table, he can leave the money on the table, because guess why I love comments like Richard's? For everyone who thinks there's no forced stimulus check in every U.S. state, for everyone who says no one's getting any money, I love that comment. Why do I love that comment? Because they're going to leave checks for us. Leave the checks alone for us. I can't love it more when people say there's no money. Good. Believe that. Stay away and leave us the wad of cash. The more cash we grab, the better we grab. What I've learned, what I've taught viewers of this channel is you grab the cash, because you and I know exactly what's going to happen by about September. You and I know exactly what's going to happen by September. By September, this economy is going to be much more worse than it was today. I had told you back in March that we're 3 months away from a clear recession coming next year. But when I said recession in March, when I said recession in February, because I did say in February as well, people looked at me and said, what is that kid talking about? I said, no, in February, there's going to be a recession next year. 2 years. I prepared you from that horizon. Tonight, Wall Street believes there's a recession. Tonight, we have gone from a week ago where it was myself and Deutsche Bank saying recession in 2 years starting in 2023. And I think I had a quote from not JP Morgan Chase, one of the other investment banking firms, saying 35% chance. Now every quote, every news article says recession. Why? Because it's hitting hard. The stocks are down, the bonds are down, the crypto is is dropping dramatically, the housing market. People now grasp it. What does this mean for you and the money? When they start to worry about their money, they're going to start looking for the money you're getting. And that's why I need you to get the money now before all those people who said, there's no money, start to realize, wait, was there money? If there was money, let me go get it now because it's going to be really bad. And everyone who thinks their lives are so perfectly set up that they don't need forced stimulus, guess what's going to happen? Employers are going to start laying people off. Employers are not going to hire more people. Employers are going to cut salaries. It's going to change very quickly. Foreclosures are going to grow. People are going to have problems selling their homes. And things are going to ravel very quickly. And that's why it's important to get the money and grab it when it's on the table tonight. Let's go back to the other things that's important across the board as I go out of focus and come back into focus. Six stimulus is really getting interesting. And that six stimulus package is the alliance of the Western allies to deal with the situation for oil and wheat across the board. The White House has done nothing about it. The Western allies have done nothing about it. And the situation for the wheat, nothing about it as well. Today we had a lot of talk about Finland. With Finland now saying it will likely join NATO. Germany saying we support Finland for joining NATO. And Russia saying if Finland joins NATO, because Russia has a common border with Finland, you're going to see horrible consequences. Threatens Russia. What does that mean? You know, economically, what does that mean? Who knows? But I got to assume that every threat from Russia is a valid threat. Imagine we have supply chain disruption. We have recession looming. We have inflationary pressure still here. We have all these different parts of the markets not doing well. And then we have a threat from Russia upon NATO countries like our own. Yeah, this doesn't look good, does it? I got to tell you, the first time you've ever heard me say this in the history of this channel, I've covered this channel and this economy since April 25th, 2020. And I can't tell you, I've never seen a time in which I think this market, this economy, these industries are in big trouble as much as I see it right now. In March 2020, actually, let me take it out a little bit. Let me say May 2020. In May 2020, I remember myself going to the beaches of Hermosa Beach and Manhattan Beach to record some videos for you a month after this channel had launched. And I looked around and people were acting like there was no pandemic. And I thought, you think the pandemic's over? It's only been 6 weeks. People just sort of undervalued everything, thought it was sort of simple. I got to tell you, in the landscape of analysts, when it comes to money, when it comes to investing, when it comes to crypto, all those people that are 21 and 24 who told you that Doge was going to $1, who told you that you should buy Tesla and it's going to go to 2,000, who told you all these things like the Kathy Woods of the world, who told you all these great things, didn't also tell you there could be a bear market. And when you see all this economic data so weak, it's important to get the money. A lot of negativity coming out of my mouth? No. Advisory of what's at issue? Yes. And that is why I can't let you do the following. Number one, I can't let you sit around and wait for Build Back Better Act to pass and say, I won't get any of the cash on the table, I'll wait for Build Back Better Act to pass. No. Number two, you can't sit around and say no when the answer is yes. You can't tell yourself, I made one call for check C and suddenly I'm going to stop. As a member, you know you're supposed to make 15 phone calls for that check C. You're supposed to call a city, county, state housing authority, and then go back and do all the nonprofits. Guess what? Every check is an additional sums of money. Viewers who've learned and listened to this so well are the ones who are in a better situation tonight. And guess what they have done? An example is Nisi. Nisi is an example of a viewer who has gotten checks every single opportunity she can get them. She has gotten it in the worst part of 2020. She has gotten in the worst part of 2021. She's gotten them in the best part of 2022. And she's still getting checks tonight. That is the true spirit of the Purple Power. You don't stop getting checks just because it's a good day or a good walk at the beach that month. Let's look at the numbers right across the board. Here's Mark. He had gotten 35,000. I told Mark to go get more money. The exemplary of Mark and Nisi is very important. Here's Mark. He was at 32,000. I said, Mark, go get more money. He had gotten, what had he gotten? Let's look at his initial numbers. He had gotten $25,000 for rent from check C. Then he went back and got utilities at the time, $6,500. Then he got some more money, $32,000. But I said, Mark, go get more money. He did, brought himself up to 50,000. Then he went to 105. Then he got 166 because he got check B. Yes, it's very easy to be comfortable with 50,000. But Mark did it right because he understood this economy may not always be good. He went to 166. Let's go to Nisi, who has smaller numbers. Why is Nisi so important? Here was Nisi at the time. Underneath the Evenings LA graphic, it says $20,000 for rent from Nisi. She had gotten $23,000 at the time of fall last year. But if you've watched this channel over the last few months, what happened? Nisi got about another $5,000 earlier this year, then another $6,000 or $7,000 middle of this year. Then just a few days ago, she got another $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. She keeps on getting money. It should be a routine for you. It should be a routine for you to keep on getting checks. You should get one check, you should go back and get another check and continue to repeat it. Yes, we called it LA 404, but LA 505 is understanding getting another check across the board. Now, let's go over some of the things you need to know tonight. And I'll jump in the live chat. If you have a question or comment about check A, B, or C, jump in the live chat right now and I'll answer it. In the case of check A, B, and C, remember it's in every U.S. state, number one. Number two, don't add things that make it more complicated. Follow along exactly in the newsletter. If the newsletter says say this, don't say something the newsletter doesn't say. For example, if you're calling for rent assistance because of COVID, you say rent assistance because of COVID. You don't say I'm calling up for check C. What? They don't know that. You don't say I'm calling for a stimulus check. What? You don't say I'm calling up for an MSC. What? You say exactly and do exactly what I say in the newsletter because these people in these government agencies don't know what you're talking about when you use different language. That's why I keep it very simple across the board. So with that, let me jump in the live chat and answer some of your questions across the board that you have for incredible checks. And let me see. People are hot, says Teresa. Yeah, they are hot. And you're pretty good looking too as well, Teresa. Let's jump in the live chat and see some more of the, there's a lot of Brussels sprouts. I have no Brussels sprout stuff for it. And the incredible stuff across the board is that there is called my plumber for stimulus. I am not going there with that comment, Bob Bacon. Volunteers are overbooked already. And there I'm laughing at some of the great humor in the live chat. What you need to know is a great comment that Anne just actually wrote. Don't wait. Do not wait. Do not wait to send me a message saying, does check B pay for property taxes? Just apply. Just apply. Because when you apply, it actually answers you the question. When you go in the newsletter, it actually answers the question. Don't wait to have a volunteer repeat what I say on camera. Just replay the video and get the application on file. Why? Because the money's going to run out. You don't want the money to run out anytime soon. Because a forced stimulus check is in every U.S. state. Ultimately, there's going to be people that love negativity. Guess what? The people that love negativity are going to come back and try to ask for your check when the money is going to be out of funds, and you're going to laugh because you got the check and they got nothing. And that is what's at issue across the board. Let's finally recap with going over something that's important to understand, which is the membership newsletter. Number one, we have a self-help video on the channel about the newsletter, but let's recap. First, go to the front of this channel and hit the subscribe button. Number two, hit the membership link and become a member. Number three, open that membership newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It's important for you to know what time zone you're in. I just said 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's the West Coast. If you're East Coast, that's 10 o'clock. If you're Central Standard Time, that's 9 o'clock. If you don't know what time zone you are in, you got to look it up because it comes in nearly on the dot at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alerts. You'll open the email and there'll be a YouTube alert from YouTube that says members only post, Lalate, and you look down the first line, it'll say newsletter. How simple is that? Just got to look at 7 o'clock. There may be other alerts coming in at 7 o'clock because we got shows running at 7 o'clock as well. But you'll look for this one, and there it is. Hit it, click it, and you go right into the newsletter. Go down to check A, click apply. Go down to check B, click apply. Go down to check C, read it, and apply. So simple. As Carol says, Lalate, you put it all together. You put it all together. It's all in that newsletter. It makes it so simple. I can't apply for you for the checks. Volunteers can't apply for you the checks. What I can do is say, here it is. Go get it. And you have gotten it. Countless viewers have gone to check A, B, and C, and you're the next one. Get the application on file. Tomorrow night, I'm going to check back in with you and see how many applications you've gotten. We got a big week still ahead of us. We got one more day and a big weekend, but I got to tell you, there's been a lot of economic data this week, and this economic data is far from over. We'll be on top of all the news nightly on this channel. Evenings Lalate at 5 p.m. Evenings Countdown at 6 o'clock. Strain and Stimulus at 7. Evenings Extra at 8. And Sunset at 9 o'clock. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, God bless to all of you. Get these incredible checks. Don't wait. Your opportunity is there. Pounce. Get a membership and get these incredible checks. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful night. Become a member. Go to the top of the chat and become a member. Stay with me and stay with Lalate for more.